Hey guys, Ray from Love Your RV. Today's video is going to be an update on our Big Buddy portable propane heater. Now we've had this for 8 years now, surprisingly. Let's go back and give you a little retro clip of when I first got it. So we've arrived at one of our favorite boondocking locations in Anza Borrego State Park near Borrego Springs. And I'm excited to test out my Christmas present. It's the Mr. Heater Big Buddy. Here it is here. And it's a radiant propane heater, and it's safe for indoors. So what I'm going to do is use it in the trailer instead of the big RV furnace, which sucks a lot of battery power and is noisy and is inefficient. Half the heat goes outside. This will take all the propane power and turn it into heat and also be quiet. And the next year that I had it, I actually got it plumbed into the RV's low pressure line. Just made it a little bit safer, and it made it a little more convenient for me to use it with a quick connect. I'll go in later and show you how that's set up, but right now while I'm outside here, I'm going to do some regular maintenance on it. I'm going to clean the burner on it and take it apart, clean some inside burners, blow all the dust out and hair that accumulates over time. Now I have to say up front, these can be dangerous things. You got to really use it with common sense. In most places they are classed as an indoor propane heater. But I think it's in Canada and Massachusetts, it actually is not classed as an indoor heater. It's an outdoor heater. So you really want to go through and read the directions really well. A lot of people that boondock in the Southwest use these with great success. What we do is I keep the roof vents open, and I open up a side window. The main thing is these use oxygen as they're working, so you can deplete the oxygen inside your RV, and then that could cause a problem. Although they do have a low O2 depletion sensor on it, so they're supposed to automatically turn off if they sense the oxygen level has gotten too low. But to me, it's nothing different than running your propane oven in your RV. There's not really any ventilation for that either, so you just have to use common sense. The pilot light is an open flame on it, so I prefer not to sleep with this thing on. So we usually use it to take the chill off at night. It's nice and quiet. It uses half the propane as the big furnace. I hate the big furnace as fan and stuff, so it's just a good way for us to be comfortable in the evenings. Okay, let's maybe go to the maintenance now. I'm going to pull it apart and show you what I clean on it. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to basically follow what Mr. Heater, the maker of the Big Buddy, advises for routine maintenance. I'm going to clean some of the gas output ports, take it apart, get rid of any debris and hair or anything that's built up in there. For the job, I carry a few items with me when I'm traveling. There's a small shop back here. And then I have my Viair air compressor for doing tires, but I also bought an attachment for it that will shoot out some compressed air. Just a quick shot because I don't have a tank for it, but it's enough for little jobs like this. They use some Q-tips and rubbing alcohol for cleaning the propane outputs, a little brush for getting rid of stuff. I have my electric screwdriver with a Phillips head number 2. So first thing, we're going to just take off the screens and the back flap so we can get to the meat of the matter. This just simply lifts off, gets rid of the protective cover. And then on the back, this thing has 4 screws to take off. Kind of lifts up here. There we go. So you can see in there, that's actually the fan. Here's the batteries for the fan. There's also an electrical hookup for the fan right there, 6 volts.
I personally don't use the fan. I don't really want the noise, and everything works quite well without it, so I don't really need the little fan in there, but it basically blows air out the top and helps move air around the place. Then they say take off this compartment here, cover here, a couple screws. Watch yourself, it can be sharp. Oh yeah, looks like we got quite a bit of hair in there. There's actually two propane outputs there where the propane comes up and goes out to the burner. So that could be causing a problem. All that kind of dust and hair is probably reducing the flow. Then on the front we have our pilot light right here, and it also has a burner. I can actually see a piece of debris down in there, so I'm going to have to clean all that out. I'm going to vacuum all that out and blow it out. You want to snip off the top end of the Q-tip and then get her right down into that gas tube there, so you can clean the whole thing right out. I think they said about 2 inches in. Just remove any debris or dirt that's in there. Give you a closer look here. You can see that's the tube right there that I was cleaning. In front of it is the sparker electrode, and over here is probably a thermocouple. When the flame comes out, that thing will have a certain probably temperature, and then it can tell if it's getting the proper pilot light. If you see too much yellow in the flame, then it's not working properly. It should be a pretty solid blue flame. Here's a peek in the back of the two burners, and you can see where the gas comes out right down in there. There's a little kind of a needle valve where it comes out. So you just want to make sure that's clear of any debris so that your burner will work right. If it's not really working right, then there's probably some type of problem down in there. So we'll sew her all up, cleaned everything up, just carefully brushed off the ceramic panels there, and we'll go in and hook it up and give her a test. Show you how it's hooked up in the RV. So there's several ways to fuel the Big Buddy heater. The first way is to use small 1-pound cylinders. You can see here, there's one. It's actually an empty one from days gone by. You can put one on this side, and then over here you can put another one on this side. And but they don't last very long. If you start pumping a lot of power, like a lot of heat out of this, they'll only last a matter of hours and they'll be empty. So that's not a very efficient way to use it, and it's going to be costly. So a lot of people will hook up to this with a larger cylinder, like say a 20-pound propane cylinder or a 30-pound, and they'll run a hose to it, and then you also need to attach a filter on that hose, because without the filter, it will pick up particles in the rubber hose and it can clog the Buddy heater. Now I think there is a special hose you can get that doesn't pick up the oils out of the rubber, and so you have to kind of look for that. You can dive into it at the Mr. Heater site. But anyway, I used that just briefly, but I didn't like that it ran at high pressure. It uses a regulator inside the Buddy heater. So from the tank, the hose comes into your RV and connects to this. Well, that's under a lot of pressure on a big tank. So if any leak develops, it's going to be a high pressure leak. So that's one reason I bought the Big Buddy heater, because inside here is another port up back in here, which is a quick connect port, and that's the low pressure input, and it can run off the same pressure as the RV. I think it's 11 water columns, something like that, or it's only 1/2 psi. So it's very, very low. It's already been regulated by the RV's propane regulators. So I think that's a little safer if you're going to get a leak. You're not going to get suddenly a really high pressure leak going on. Anyway, that's what I chose to do. That's why this cover's off on this side. And we basically have a hose right here coming out of the stairs, and it has the quick connect on it. So all I have to do is, when I want to use the buddy heater, is to connect that to the buddy's low pressure port, and we're good to go. Other than I have to turn on a different valve. I'll show you that in a second. So I connect up the buddy heater there. It's kind of central to our RV, and then it goes into the stairs. Now under that stairs is a hollow area, and I just have the hose looped around, so when I pull it out I can easily put it back in. And it comes out just far enough to set up the big buddy heater, and when I'm not using it I can tuck the hose away. That hose goes through, and I drilled a hole, and it goes back in here to the water heater area, comes through there and goes this way through another wall. It actually follows the rig's propane hoses, same, but they have a solid type of a hose, and it ends up just over here, and I've teed in to my furnace propane, and I've put in a shutoff valve. So usually when I go to bed at night after we've used the heater, I'll turn that valve off right there, or if I'm not using the heater in the summer or when we travel, I'll just turn that off, so it'll be in off position when I'm not using it. You can see where the rubber hose comes out of there. Now that rubber hose is pretty heavy duty rubber. I asked, when I was doing this mod, I was actually at an RV park and they had a propane dealer kind of shop on site, so I bought all the parts I needed to do it from him. I'll link back to the video where I listed my parts and stuff, but he advised me what parts to use, and he sold me the hose and the quick connect, and he said those hoses are pretty strong. He actually did a cutaway and showed me how thick the rubber was, and he says a lot of the newer RVs have the refrigerator and stuff in a slide out, and they're actually using rubber hoses for the slide coming in and out. So I'm pretty confident in that hose. I do have, just over this side is where my propane detector is, so if there ever is a leak, it's going to show up right away. I have a little propane sniffer gadget I check once in a while, and then I'll bubble check this every once in a while, make sure there's no leaks. But so far it's been in there, 9 years now. Haven't had an issue. And then this is just a thing that used to be screwed on, and I put in some magnets so that it can just fit in place easily. I can pull it on and off very quickly. So here we go. We'll give her a light. When I first go to light after not using it in a long time, sometimes I have to do this multiple times just to purge air out of the hose, but it should light pretty quick now. So I can click it. There you can see lit first time. That's the pilot light. And it looks nice and blue, great blue flame on it. Let's set her on to low here. Should light the panel. There we go. Takes a little while for it to kind of come on, but it starts to glow red. And right away you can feel the radiant heat pouring off that sucker. Now, if we usually only need that panel, one of them is generally enough for us, even with windows open and vents open. But if it gets really cold out, we can also, on the big buddy, you can go to the second panel and light it. Then you have dual panels going. There we go, toasty warm. And at night it actually puts out a nice glow. So you can see, you can adjust the different levels over here, and then right off there. So there we go. Let's look at the big buddy heater maintenance and how it's hooked up in our RV, and kind of an update. Some people have asked how the big buddies lasted, and no problem, you know, since 2014 I've been using this thing. You can kind of see how one panel is darker than the other, because we always just use mainly that first panel. It's on low and medium, and rarely do we use the high panel, but it's still putting out pretty good heat, so I think it still has a few more years of life left in it. Some people will install what's called an Olympic wave heater, which is sort of similar, but you basically plumb it in somewhere in your RV. I don't have a convenient location to plumb it in, and I kind of prefer this kind of portability of the buddy heater. I can pull it out. I can use it in other situations. I can use it outside if I want off a tank, or I can use it with small tanks portably and stuff like that. So, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the other options. And like I say, this is all owner DIY stuff. So you really want to get a propane guy's advice, or have a propane guy do it for you. Because once you start messing with the propane system, LP gas system in your RV, you could be avoiding your warranty and voiding any insurance you have if you burn it down. Just a big warning there for you. Till next time, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Happy trails, everyone. Cheers, folks.